Ah, you way too much yapping about them lights, huh? This is probably going to end up being a two-part, even though we're trying to do an accelerated version of this. All right, so this literally came in today, even though I started filming this section, this series, yesterday. So the beauty of it coming in is we can add it to this one. So, well, this is a very nice handwritten note. This person that I'm going to keep their name private. This person that sold me these 3 micrometers included this cross. And what's inside the cross are some psalms. Huh. That's nice. I do believe this is a first that I've ever had anyone send me something of religious origin. Alright, so bought 3 micrometers. Oh, 2. She included 2. I think I'm supposed to keep 1 and pass 1 on. I'll finish reading that note off camera. Anyways, why did I buy more micrometers? I don't need any more micrometers, right? Well, okay, so these 3 micrometers here are all specials. And unfortunately, no boxes for any of these. She did a really good job of packing these. It's just great. I have no idea which one's in which. This is, let's see. Let's do this one first. This one feels like the smallest one. Now look at this cute little sucker. So this is a Starrett 0 to 1/2 inch micrometer. And what's unique about this sucker, this is a number 576. And what it is it's a micrometer that has a rounded or almost ball anvil. Okay? So this is quite a unique little sucker. Just to give you an appreciation for how small this sucker is, that's a 1/4. So that's going to be officially now my smallest micrometer in my collection. So I know you guys like to know what I pay for some of these things, and in this particular case, I ended up buying these 3 micrometers, this one and the next 2 I'm going to show you, for $140 shipped. And I think I got a good deal on these, and these are not for resale. I'm going to keep these for myself. I'm going to eventually try and get cases for them. So, that's that one. I don't know what this sticker is, but I think you could probably take it off. Yeah, a little bit of sticker residue on there. I'm sure that'll clean up. But that's kind of a neat little micrometer. This is a Starrett caliper micrometer. Now, these normally are very expensive. I think new, these are over $300. This is a model 700. There were a few variations in these, like a 700A and things like that. I'm not sure what those actually mean. But this sucker is pretty unique. I could see where this would be very handy for doing an inside measurement. This is another pretty small micrometer. Not sure what the purpose of this set screw is. Does that lock the micrometer? Let's see. Oh, how cool is that? So this little thumb screw right here, when I loosen this, I can turn the thimble. And when I tighten this thumb screw, it locks the thimble. Boy, that's a neat little micrometer. And it's got a little bit of, well, not much, but there's a little bit of zings here and there. But this is the most expensive of the three. Guess I should have held this with the last, huh? But anyways, that's number 2. This fella right here is the closest to having a box. It actually has the foam insert. And this is another specialty micrometer. This is a Starrett 220. Now the interesting thing is, a Starrett 230 is a pretty standard micrometer. It's not that special, but the 220, this is a multi-anvil micrometer. All right, so by design, the way this works is you loosen this right here, and that allows you to remove the anvil, okay, and replace it with one of the other anvils. Now, these will vary greatly in price on, say, like eBay. And one of the reasons that they'll vary greatly in price is because it often depends on how many anvils it comes with. So I'm looking at, well, it comes with the wrench. But what I noticed when I was looking at this, and what made me decide to buy it, was the fact that I could see there were quite a few anvils. So there's one in there now. Then we've got this one. And then there's this sucker right here. Zoom in on these. So this one with the little radius on the edge. The V. And then there are several pins. So we're going to have to find something to store all these in safely. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and with the one that's in there, that's 11 different interchangeable anvils to go into this micrometer. I have the Mitutoyo version of this. I actually had 2 of them, and I sold one, and I kept the better of the 2. Now that I've stepped up in quality to a Starrett, I guess I could sell my other anvil micrometer, my other Mitutoyo one. So I got one other item to show you guys. It's actually Saturday evening, so I'm going to have to wait till tomorrow because it's still in the truck because I just picked them up today. And I'm pretty excited about them being an addition to the shop, although I'm not too excited about getting them down the bulkhead stairs. Alright, so these are the items I picked up yesterday. We got rain moving in, so we're going to try and get these into the basement, and then we'll get a better look at them. But these are Vidmar, which is the industrial division of Stanley, industrial cabinets, storage cabinets. I got 2 of them. 4 of these, the person had 4. They popped up on Marketplace, and boy, there was quick response because they were asking $150 a piece, which for anybody who knows Stanley Vidmar cabinets knows that that's a really good deal, depending on what the cabinets have, how many drawers and things like that. So I noticed that one of the cabinets in the picture had 5 drawers, so it was clearly bigger than the others. So I definitely wanted that for $150. I messaged the person. Unfortunately, even though the listing was only 2 hours old, I was only second in line. But then, fortunately, the following day, the person was supposed to be there by 3 o'clock, and they no-showed. I guess they actually called and explained that they wouldn't be able to make it, that they had some kind of a conflict, and the seller did not want to hold them because she had so many people that had responded with interest. So I went right out there. It was about a 45-minute drive, and my intention originally was just to buy the one. Funny story, I had brought 300 with me in case I did want to buy a second one, but I realized on the drive up that I needed to stop and get some diesel fuel. So I threw 20 bucks diesel in the truck, and when I got there and then realized that I wanted to get a second one, this one here with the casters on it, I explained to her, I said, well, you could have my last 280 and I'll take the 2. And she said, well, since I was there, she took them. So I actually got this one for 130 and that one for 150. And then this one was actually tandem with another one next to it. This strap was sticking out and bolted to the underside of it. These casters were in the center. Okay, so the way that they were, they basically were supporting both boxes in the middle. So we're going to relocate those casters right now into the correct position so that I'll be able to wheel it around. And also they were bolted. I had to take the top drawers out because there were bolts on the inside clamping the 2 sides together. So somebody really wanted those to be sturdy. And these things are heavy. So we're going to get them off and get them down the basement. All right, reposition the wheels. I oriented them this way because these aren't swivel like this side. So these aren't swivel like the other side, so by doing it this way I should be able to roll it right in up against the wall. Alright, so there's cabinet number 1, and just give you an idea of the size of it. This puppy is 30 inches wide, 28 inches high, and about 27 3/4 inches deep. This one's got it's got 4 drawers. And so the only other issue with these, other than, you know, being scratched and mostly scratches, there aren't any major dents in them. The draw slides all work perfectly, which is a testament to the quality of these things, as old as these are. I got some pretty bad corrosion over here, and the reason for that is there's a knockout hole on the side there. It's about that big, and mice had been using that as a little entrance and getting in there, and they set up camp in here. This is loaded with mouse turd and just crap that the mice had brought in there, like remnants of shagbark hickory nuts and a little bit of nesting material. So gonna have to clean this out really well, but these drawers are really well made. I have some dividers. I'll probably have to make some more, but what's nice is this is going to be really good for small parts, drill bits, all different kinds of things. And then the big drawer on the bottom here can hold quite a bit of weight, so I might be able to put in even a vise or something like that down there. So that's the smaller of the 2. So now we're in the process of moving the larger of the 2 down here. And here's the big one. So this one is it's also 30 inches wide, 28 inches deep. So it takes up the same footprint as the other one, but this doesn't even have casters on it, and it's about 42 inches tall. So, you know what's nice about this height right here is that's almost like right at waist height for me. So if I've got something heavy, a vise or something that's sitting on top of this, it'd be easier for me to slide it off and carry it over. So I'll have to get some more dividers. It's got pre-drilled holes all in it. I even found some of the knockouts that were missing that allowed the mice to get in there. But I could use a whole bunch of these. I don't have keys for them, but I don't need to lock them. I'm the only one who's really down here. Well, while I take a minute to catch my breath from hauling that heavy hydraulic lift hand truck up the stairs, I wanted to just touch base on something, a nice little extra that I didn't realize was in this cabinet that I bought. So when I went to this house, there was a car there in the in one of the two bays. The car had already been sold, and the car was a 1973 Ford Falcon XB. Some of you might recognize that car right off the bat. Others of you might not. I didn't realize what it was, but I was a big fan of the movie when I was growing up. The original Mad Max, filmed in Australia. Mad Max's car, the car that had the blower sticking out of the hood, that they originally used to entice Mad Max to stay in the police force when he was thinking of retiring. And it was a black car with a blower sticking out of the hood. And that car makes a reappearance in the second Mad Max movie, The Road Warrior. In The Road Warrior, the car had been modified. He had put large tanks on the back so it can carry a lot more fuel, which consequently he had booby-trapped in case someone ever tried to steal fuel. And that's how that car met its demise. In The Road Warrior, there's a scene where the car rolls over an embankment, and one of the bad guys goes to try and get fuel out of the tanks, and the car blows up. That's the end of that car. In the movie, it's a right-hand drive because Australia apparently is right-hand. The steering wheel is on the right-hand side, just like in England. So, other than that, it's a Ford Fury XB 1973. That's what the classic car was that was sitting in this lady's garage, a 1973 Ford Fury XB. And when I was going through the drawers on these cabinets, I didn't notice, but when I got them here and started going through them, I found these bumper guards. I believe they clamp onto the rear bumper. Okay, I think they're called bumper guards. The chrome's pitted, but the rubber's actually in pretty good shape. Even the little moldings are actually in pretty good shape. And on the inside here, it says FOMOCO, which stands for Ford Motor Company. And there's actually a part number on here, and I looked up the part number, and these are original 1973 Ford Falcon XB bumper guards. Was I saying Fury before? Fury was a Plymouth. Anyways, Ford Falcon XB bumper guards. There's only been 2 sets of these that I could find that have sold previously on eBay or are available on eBay, and they're both offered, oddly enough, by an Australian seller. His looked like they were in really, really good condition, and I think he got like 70 or 80 bucks for the pair. So I have no idea what these are worth. If I would have put these on eBay today, they would be the only pair listed in the US. It could very well be that the reason why none of them are listed is because maybe here in the US these just don't have much value. I mean, I don't know how many people are restoring 73 Ford Falcons, you know. So that was little extra score number 1. Little extra score number 2 was this cardboard box, which was stuffed way in the back of one of the drawers. And in this box, and I think this is the original shipping box, there's actually something that says MCG number 80227. I can just see marquee over here. So I think this might be the original box for what's in here, which, get to it, Steve. These are GM. These are original General Motors parts. 92242457 emblem. So I took one out, and my son, my 14-year-old, to his credit, he knew what this was right away. He said, "That's the Transformers logo, Autobot." And I was like, oh. So lo and behold, these are dated March 13th, 2010. Back in 2010, I guess that was maybe the premiere of the original Transformers movie. I'm not positive on that. But for whatever reason, General Motors decided that they thought it would be cool to issue these emblems to people who owned the Camaro. I think it might be Bumblebee was the yellow Camaro in that movie, and it transformed into a Autobot. I'm sorry if I'm not. I mean, I like the movies, but I'm not that into it. So if I've got this wrong, you'll have to forgive me. Well, you don't have to forgive me. I ask you to forgive me. But anyways, the idea is that you would buy these from GM and you would stick these on the fenders right behind the wheel well of your, I imagine, 2010 Chevy Camaro, and your Camaro would now be the the Autobot. I looked on eBay to see what these are currently selling for, and based on what some people are asking for prices on these, you might think that putting these on the car actually gives it magical powers and does transform it into a giant robot that, you know, is really cool. The cheapest I found these on eBay for is 80 bucks a piece. I know, I'm staggered. And there are some people that are asking well over $200 for these. Actually, I think maybe the listing for 200 might have been for like it was closer to 300, and it was like for the pair, but that's still like 140, 150 bucks a piece for these things. Needless to say, I don't think those people are selling them as quickly. So I don't know how much demand there is for these, but I could list these on eBay for 70 bucks a piece, have the cheapest ones on there right now, and you know, it's nice, got a little extra fine there. In case anybody was wondering what's going on with the Dodge Ram, that whole project of figuring out what was wrong with the tachometer and the charging system going on and off, that's kind of in limbo because, you know, I still got my auxiliary wire installed, so I'm ready to make a test measurement as soon as it acts up, and the thing just doesn't act up now. Problem went away for the time being. When I went to pick up those Vidmar cabinets, like I said, it was about a 45-minute drive. 45 minutes out, stopped the truck, was parked there for a while, 45 minutes back. Never saw the tachometer act up once. So, you know, what are you gonna do? All right, we got the platform hand truck loaded. Let's go. My bags are back. I'm ready to go. Where are we going? Let's go. So where are we going? Well, I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but a couple months back, I took a ride out to Connecticut. I bought a bench grinder. And I bought a bench grinder, and while I was there, I spotted this little Delta Rockwell drill press. It was a short one, like a benchtop model, but it had an unusual base on it. So I think I ended up giving 50 or 60 bucks for the pair. Turns out once I got it back here, I looked over the grinder a little more closely and realized I really don't like it. I had already committed to sell my early cast iron based Stanley grinder to Dave, if Dave's watching. So Dave got my better grinder of the two, and I kept this POS. The reason why I don't like it is because the wheel guards and the mounts for it's all cast. I don't know if it's cast aluminum or white metal or what the heck it is, but they're really cheesy. The covers on the side, they're cast metal, and the screws that hold them on strip out of the holes real easy because, again, it's just really poorly made, which is unfortunate because the rest of the grinder actually is pretty decent. I actually toyed with the idea of making a project where I actually take those cast metal monstrosities off and make some better ones. A combination of some machining and some welding work could actually make some pretty nice guards for it. I don't know if I'm going to bother with that. I might just keep my eye out for a better bench grinder and to sell this one down the road. The drill press, it turns out it had the unusual base because it's a model that actually was made to mount to a early Delta Rockwell table saw. So the idea is it actually mounted on the table saw, and you could swing it down out of position when you wanted to use the saw. All right, I'm getting off the subject here. Yeah, doing it again, Steve. All right, shut the hell up and get to it. All right, so while I was there picking that stuff up, there was a Delta Unisaw sitting outside the garage under a tarp. There was still snow on the ground at this point of the year, rusting away. I inquired about it. I noticed big problem with it was missing parts. No fence, no nothing. So wasn't worth a lot, but it's a good old Delta Unisaw. There was an extension table, like a homemade one or something. I guess she had forgotten about the fact that I told her, hey, contact me if the saw becomes available. And lo and behold, she posted it for sale. So she put it up for sale for 50 bucks. And I messaged her and I said I'd be interested. Well, she messaged me right back and she said she's already got somebody coming down to look at. And she contacted me several days ago and said, well, the saw is yours for 50 if you want it. So now the trick is I've got no help with me today, so I gotta see whether or not I can move this thing onto the truck by myself, which is why I needed the elevation platform hand truck. Well, guys, it's later that same afternoon, and I made it home safely. We were able to load this thing. We being me and there was a gentleman there at the house who helped me load this. I probably could have done it by myself, but it definitely was nice to have somebody, an extra pair of hands to help study it. But I can't say enough about how great it is to have this rolling hand truck platform thingamadoodle here. I mean, it just made this job so much easier. The only problem is because that thing's so sturdy, it's made a lot of steel, so it itself is heavy. It was harder for me to get this up out of the basement than it was for me to actually get to use it and get that saw onto this truck. Bad news is it's missing a few things. It's missing the cover for this magnetic starter. I checked, this is a 220 volt single phase, so I actually thought this might be a 3-phase saw when I saw it the first time, just because of the size of the motor that's in there. It's got a big motor. And so it's missing the cover for that. The blade guard probably went on there, and that's missing. It's rusty as heck on the table from sitting outside for so long, but that's no big deal. I mean, that's those cast iron tabletops, they flash rust so fast. I can just use a bristle disc or 3M pads on that thing and clean that up actually pretty decent. Judging from the type of hand wheel it's on here, it's not a really old Unisaw. And I actually lowered the blade when I got there, and so that moves nice and freely. That's not all seized up. The trunnion in there seems to be working okay. Here's the tail of the tape here. 230 volt, 12.4 amp, single phase, 60 hertz, and this is a catalog number 34-802. And then there's a serial number here that'll probably tell me the year if I go and do a little bit of research. So the other bad stuff is, well, I do have that extension leg, and there was a piece of MDF that had this on one side. So you see it's got a track. So I think this might be the fence that or the rail that goes on the back side, so that when the fence is on there, the back end of the fence would clamp onto this in here. It would clamp in here and give the fence rigidity. Because I don't think that's the rail that the fence is supposed to ride on. So that's the problem with the saw. The biggest problem is it's completely missing the rail and the fence. So that's the bad problem. But the good news is this whole saw, I got it for 50 bucks. And I mean, that if you look at what these cabinet Unisaws go for used, 50 bucks is a steal, even if I have to pay, you know, some money for a good used fence. Oh, I wanted to point out, here's a modification somebody did. I don't know whether or not there was originally a hole behind here that they covered with this, but they just took a piece of sheet metal and then they cut a slot in the sheet metal and they added a floor tool and used that for dust collection. So they probably put a vac on here and just would use that. Now, I'm not opposed to that idea. I think that probably is a decent idea. The only problem I have with it is that they used a floor tool with a very small opening on the pipe there. So I think you know, a true shop vac with a bigger opening, like an 1.5 or 2 inch pipe, would probably be best for something like this if you're not going to have a dedicated dust collection system hooked up to it. All right, it's pretty cold out here, so I'm going to head in. All right, so I guess we're going to call this a wrap. I don't even know if my head's in the shot, but I don't think you guys need to see my ugly mug, and I know you're tired of hearing me, so we're going to call this one a wrap. Those of you who did tune in to watch, I appreciate you coming by the channel. If you're not a subscriber already, please consider subscribing, and if you are a subscriber or just happen to come by and like the video, please hit the like button. Take care.
It's over, Johnny. Nothing is over! It's over!